Please mute yourself and rename yourself with the role you'll be filling today. And we would like to warmly welcome our guest, Tomo. The only roles I think we don't have here with us are the general evaluator and the timer. Do we want to wait in case they do come, or have a backup for those roles now? I can do timer if Willie doesn't come. Does anyone want to do general evaluator?
I could do general evaluator.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And with that, I will turn it over to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Kimberly Baird Cooley.
Thank you, Madam President, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. As Toastmaster of the day, it's my responsibility to introduce today's speakers and our helpers with the meeting rules today. We have two speakers today. We will have Valerie Milton giving a prepared speech, and Distinguished Toastmaster Karen Baird will be giving a prepared speech as well. Our timer today will be Toastmaster Madam President Jelena Verkler. Would you briefly go over the timing cards so everyone can see them, please?
Yep. So basically, when you are at time, I will put the green, and the timing is different for every event. When you're way past that, then I will do yellow, and when you are at time, I will do light up red.
Thank you very much. We have the counter grammarian, Distinguished Toastmaster Karen Baird. Can you briefly describe the purpose of that role, please? You're on mute.
There we go. The counter grammarian, my role is to count and point out how many times we use filler words, because those are words we want to avoid. They're just a bad habit that don't add to our communication, as well as repeated phrases. In the grammarian role, I'll note if people have used the word of the day or if they've used exemplary or poor uses of English grammar.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Next, I'd like to remind us that there are three pillars of a Toastmasters meeting. The three pillars are table topics or extemporaneous speaking, which helps us practice our off-the-cuff speaking. Prepared speeches, where we practice and refine our prepared speaking abilities. And thirdly, we have an evaluation portion, which helps us obtain feedback for improvement of our own speaking skills and to help us improve our evaluation skills of one another. So next, I would like to pass it over to our wonderful word master of the day, Toastmaster Dottie Hamilton. If you could please give us the word of the day and tell us what the word of the day is all about.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Baird. I am excited about the word sagacious. It flows musically from your lips. And in the chat, it says, which you will get momentarily, sagacious is an adjective, meaning keen perception, acute discernment, insightful, prudent, wise. We gain experience developing a sagacious grasp of thinking on our feet when we answer table topics questions. Those who use the word of the day will get acknowledgement to let them know we understand you use the word of the day. Thank you. Back to Toastmaster of the Day, Baird.
Thank you. That is a unique word I've never heard of before. I'm so excited to try and use it. Next up, do we have any club business to attend to today?
I wish to be recognized. I want to thank the officers of the club who attended the officer training this past Saturday. So thank you all for your dedication to the club. I believe Bill had something he wanted to add.
That was the same question. Who attended?
We had Erilyn, Jelena, myself, Bill, and Artemis, were you there? I don't remember.
No, I had to work,
Oh, okay.
but I can do a makeup. I'm thinking there's a makeup, so.
Yes.
But the important part is that we had 4 attend.
Mhm.
Good. Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Wonderful. Any other club business? No? All right. Well, then we will move on to the first pillar of our Toastmasters meeting, into the table topics. And today our table topics master is our Madam President, Jelena Verkler. If you could please give us a brief description of what the table topics section of the meeting is and let us get started, that would be wonderful.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. So as she mentioned, this is our extemporaneous speaking. So this is off the cuff. You're going to be asked somewhat random questions and you will have 1 to 2 minutes to respond. As the timer, when it hits 1 minute, I will put up the green placard. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, yellow, and at 2 minutes, red. Let's get started. I chose a theme for this week because we have the Olympics coming up, which I'm very excited about. So these are going to be somewhat sports themed questions. So first up, let's do Toastmaster Bill Moylan. What is the most exciting sport to watch? What is the most exciting sport to watch?
Thank you, Madam Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, and our most esteemed guest, Tomo. The most exciting sports to watch for me in the Olympics, and there are multiple that fall into this category, but it's the relay races. It could be swimming, it could be track, it could be the decathlon. There's a lot of also ice skating too, I guess you could say. But those things where it's a very interesting team sport of how they have to all work together in harmony. And as we see them going back and forth, to me, what makes the most excitement is the last Olympics when the women's 10,000 meter relay and each American woman had a world record time for their lap around the meter track. However, even though they had the best splits, as we would say in track, they didn't win the race. The French won. How about that? How could that be that these 4 amazing women could each have a world record time on the 10,000 meter, but the team lost? It was in the handoff. And just that little split, thousandths of a second, in that the way they would hand off the baton from one to the next was all that it took. So it's that sagacious view of how teams work together makes it such an exciting Olympics. It isn't just individual effort, it's a team. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
That was great, thank you. Next up, let's have Kimberly. On the other side, what is the most boring sport to watch? What is the most boring sport to watch?
Thank you for the question, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guest. I am a little bit hesitant to admit this, especially in front of our Madam President, who I know is such a big sports fan. But a lot of sports are boring to me, not because they're lacking in skill or enthusiasm or complexity, but simply because I don't understand the rules. I never grew up in a sports family. I never learned the rules. So for me, watching sports, and almost all of them, is like watching a foreign film where there's no subtitles available. It's just tough. Now, what's the worst of all of them? I don't know if this is an Olympic sport, but I'm going to say golf, because it's so much walking and there's a teeny tiny little ball and the hole's far away and there's so many terms that I'm not familiar with. And it's such a popular sport that I'm embarrassed to ask at this point. So unfortunately, most sports do not capture my interest, not for the sport being lacking in joy and complexity and interest, but just due to my own ignorance. Sorry, thank you.
Okay, great answer. All right, Toastmaster Karen Baird, if you were pitching to host the Olympics in your city, what would your pitch be? If you were pitching to host the Olympics in your city, or you can pick any city. If you were pitching to host the Olympics, what would your pitch be?
There is no city better than mine for the Olympics, and I'll tell you why. We have the greatest sports fans in the whole world. We have sports fans that are diehards. They love the teams when they win, but more importantly, they love their teams even when they lose. Think of those Lions fans. They've been on the mountain tops. They've been in the valleys. They've been in the valleys for decades, but they're right there. Their hearts are in it. They love their sports. They love every athlete, no matter how good or how terrible they happen to be. My city, you could say Livonia, but I'm going to say all of Detroit. We love sports. We love our sports fans. We sink in and we don't let go. We have that kind of enthusiasm. You could say we have huge hearts, maybe even an enlarged heart. Maybe we should be careful how much we love, because our hearts might be broken, but we still love our sports. Whether that be winter sports, summer sports, or any kind of sports in between. You know that Detroit has more golf courses than any other major US city. Do you know we have swimming pools? We have tennis courts. Okay, maybe we lack in the downhill skiing, but this is the Summer Olympics. We don't care about that right now. Let's get that Olympics here in Detroit, because you know what? Everybody loves you and everyone will have a great time.
Thank you. I'll definitely submit Detroit for future games. Next up, let's do Valerie. What would you say in your acceptance speech if you won a gold medal? What would you say in your acceptance speech if you won a gold medal?
Thank you for that question, Toastmaster Jelena. If I won a gold medal, which would be highly unlikely because I don't like sports. You know, I have two nephews that play sports. If I won the gold medal, I would say, why? Why did I win this gold medal? Because I can't run, I don't play basketball, I don't swim, I don't do any of that. I'm a spectator person. So I would be kind of shocked. And I would ask, why did I win this gold medal? I'm happy. Thank you for the gold medal, but I don't know why I won it. So that's my answer, Toastmaster Jelena.
Thank you. Okay. Artemis, What athlete do you admire the most? What athlete do you admire the most?
Could you repeat that just one more time?
Which athlete do you admire the most, or who is your favorite athlete and why?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, um, distinguished Toastmasters fellow guest. Honored guest. This takes me back to a time when I was stationed overseas, but I managed to be able to take leave this year. I think the year was 1988, and that was when the Detroit Pistons were playing. It wasn't the Lakers; it was the Chicago Bulls, and it was just so exciting to come home, and everyone in Detroit was excited in that year. Um, it was just everyone just went over everybody's house and had popcorn and pizza, and we just tuned right in. And this was the time when Isaiah Thompson hurt his ankle, and he was hopping around, and we didn't think that we would have a chance to win, but he clearly tricked everyone, not intentionally, but it was just a matter of sheer determination. And it just goes to show you, you will do what you will to do. And what inspires you can give you this extra strength that you don't even know that you have. And he played so well that it really, for a minute there, it just seemed like we almost had it. Everyone was so beloved to us. There was Bill Lambier that did these flip flops. All you had to do was touch him, and he would do 3 somersaults. And then you had Dennis Rodman, who just cried at the drop of a hat. And then you had all of these special players that we all love so much. But what comes to mind is you can't beat the bad boy Pistons. Never, ever, ever. Thank you, Madam Table Topics.
Thank you, Artemis. Okay, Dottie, what is your favorite way to exercise or find joyful movement? What is your favorite way to exercise or find joyful movement?
Well, thank you for that question, Table Topic Master Jelena. To our special guests, Tomo, and the rest of our Toastmasters on the Zoom. I am recently getting into exercise. Chair exercises would be my favorite. I am a senior citizen. I have turned 75, so I'm not able to get up there and do all the contortions that the other younger people do in exercise classes. So I have recently went to where my mom was a resident, and I volunteer every Tuesday for 1 hour to conduct chair exercises. So I'm getting my exercise in as I'm helping them stay in better health. I also said to myself, I must put in some more hours. The research said that you need to move 30 minutes at least 4 times a week. So recently, I, with the spirit of sagaciousness, looked up exercise places near me. On Tuesday and Wednesday of last week, I started an exercise club visit, and I fell in love with it. All the parts are going to be moving, yet guess what? It's still chair exercises. Thank you for that topic. I was excited about sharing.
Thank you, Dottie. That's so exciting. Okay. think. Felice, what do you think would be the hardest part of being an Olympic athlete? What do you think would be the hardest part of being an Olympic athlete?
Thank you, Table Topics Master. The hardest part of being Olympic athlete, I think, is the attitude towards winning, but also they need to have the preparation of losing, or even not be able to finish the game, or not performing very well at the game. I think Olympic game is probably the best, the most sacred place for most athletes. When they finally prove they can accomplish something, they can be the best of the best athlete in their area, and it's also really competitive for all of them. So I think when people go there, of course they always want to win, but it's going to be extremely hard for anyone to really win at the best level that they can do. So I think the person will, to start, even before they actually enter the game, they want to win, but they still need to prepare themselves. What if they get sick the next day and they can't even get to the game? Or what if they are really doing their best of the best, but they still cannot win the first place? They can't even get a medal, for example. They need to prepare themselves for that, and then coming to the game. Still, everybody, I think the hardest part is that they need to have the mentality that everyone, that we all want to do our best, but whatever comes out as the result, that's okay. They need to accept that. I think that's going to be the most important thing. Thank you.
Okay, that's everyone. Tomo, would you like to try a table topics?
Yes, I'd like to. Yes.
Okay, so my question for you is, which do you like more, team sports or individual sports? Which do you like more, team sports or individual sports?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Tomo. I'm Japanese. I moved to Dearborn Heights 2 weeks ago. And I hope I can answer the sagacious answer, the table topic. So question is, do I like the individual sports or team sports? The answer is, of course, team sports. Why? Because there is a three answer. Because, for example, first of all, team sports, you have to be, you can get a lot of friends. You cannot do by individual. You have to cooperate. Soccer, basketball, or tennis. You can get the friends. And second of all, maybe you will be very careful. You will be think about other people. So you will be very friendly. And last of all, maybe Toastmasters can do any sports. Here is 9 people. Maybe we can do the soccer. That would be very nice. So I prefer the team player sports. Do you agree with me or not? Thank you very much for Toastmaster of the Day, Jelena.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for going on your first visit to our club. That's awesome. From there, I will turn it back over to our Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Kimberly Baird Cooley.
Thank you very much, Madam Table Topics Master. Those were some really fun questions and timely with current events. Great job. Next, we will be moving on to our prepared speeches section of the meeting. And our first speaker is Toastmaster Dr. Valerie Milton. Valerie Milton is an educational research coordinator with the Michigan Department of Education, overseeing assessment programs, grant applications, and monitoring of career and technical educational databases. So she is uniquely qualified to speak to us on her speech topic today, Embracing Change in the Digital Age. She'll be talking to us for 5 to 7 minutes. Everyone give Valerie a warm welcome.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Kimberly Bird. I wasn't expecting all of that introduction. So good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guest Tomo. What is embracing change in the digital age? This evening, we're going to talk about 3 important things: being flexible, using technology, and how do we stay connected with people online. So let's get started. First of all, what does it mean to be adaptable? Think about it. It means that we are able to change when things around us change, because we know the world is changing so fast. So I want you to think about the pandemic. Think about how we were in our offices working or at school, and all of a sudden we were at home. I remember the day, March 20th, 2020, when I was working in the office and my boss came over to my cubicle and she said, "Valerie, go home. We're in a pandemic." And I thought, oh, this is only going to last maybe a week. But you know, a week turned into a month turned into 6 months, 6 months turned into a year. And before you know it, it was a couple years and I was working from home. So this is being adaptable, changing and learning quickly. So think about a time when you had to use Zoom, like we're using Zoom now for our Toastmasters meetings. I had to learn Teams very quickly for my work. Teams is an online collaboration tool. I learned the tool and I learned it within a week. So I did it. I adapted. We all have adapted. We learned and we have gotten much better at using technology and being adaptable. The second topic I want to talk to you about is the essence of digital literacy. What is digital literacy? Think about it. It means knowing how to use technology well. It's like having a special tool where you can do unique things. It's not just about using a computer, it's about understanding how technology can make our lives better. So let me share a story with you. I work every day. I work 2 days a week in the office and 3 days at home. So I want you to think about how you help someone use a new app, like your sibling or your grandparent or your parent. Think about the time that you finally showed them how to use the app. They smiled. They got it. You saw the light bulb go off. This is what digital literacy is all about. It's being sagacious, learning and thinking on our feet. It's opening the new doors and making things easier for people. The third topic I want to talk to you about is how do we keep the human connection in a virtual world? Even though we use a lot of technology, staying connected with people is very, very important. Technology helps us stay in touch. I have the opportunities to use technologies to stay in touch with my nephew who lives in China, so I can see him on Zoom. So technology has been good in that aspect. We can communicate with people all across the world. but we have to make the effort to be kind and to be present with each other. So let me share a story. During a video call, and this has happened all the time, I have the opportunity to meet my colleagues' spouses, their pets, their brothers and sisters. This is staying connected. These little moments make us feel loved and noticed, and we feel connected. We feel that human connection. So I want you to think. Technology is about being flexible and adaptable, being sagacious, thinking on our feet, learning new tools. We're learning about technology. We also have to stay connected with people. So we want to embrace change, learn new technical skills, and keep our connections strong, because together we can handle anything. Thanks for listening. Let's face our future of embracing change in digital literacy with open hearts and an open mind. Thank you, Table Master of the Day.
Wow, thank you so much. That was wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. And so timely that we're on Zoom together right now. We are so lucky to have a second prepared speaker today. Our second speaker is distinguished Toastmaster Karen Baird. She will be giving a speech from her Level 5 Engaging Humor pathway, where she needs to deliver a keynote message using personal humorous stories. The speech timing is 13 to 16 minutes, and the title of the speech is Difficult Coworkers. Everyone give Karen Baird a warm welcome.
Now, some of you might know that about 18 months ago, I had a breakup. We were together for 21 years. 15 of them were pretty happy, and 6 were, what can you say? Well, you might be wondering, who did I break up with? Well, it wasn't just one person. I said, we should start seeing other people, to a whole company. I'm talking about my retirement. But it's true what they say. You don't miss the tedium of working, but you do miss the people. Well, some of the people, and other ones, not so much. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Different types of difficult people in the workplace that I had to deal with, and what were those strategies that I used to make the best of those forced encounters with my colleagues. The way I look at it, going to work is like being forced to go to a family reunion 5 days a week. On your family tree. Of course, there are some people who are very special and you love and nothing could separate you. Well, I call those people my kids. And similarly, at work, there are a few coworkers who became my really true friends. And you know what? I don't miss them because I still keep in contact with them all the time. In my family, there's another group of people. They're kind, they're caring, they're quirky, we get along. My sisters, my aunts and uncles, my husband, I'm cool with them. Likewise, there's a group of people at work. They're pleasant, they're competent, we get along. Those people, I kind of miss them at work, but they're not the subject of today's presentation, no. Today, I'm talking about those people who are like those relatives that you only see at a family reunion or a funeral, and there's a good reason for that. They are the difficult ones. When you see them, you can't even remember how you're related. You certainly don't want to be. When they see you, they want to borrow money or to sleep at your house when they're in town. They're the ones who could easily be invited to be on the Jerry Springer show. So you avoid them. They're difficult. I've got those same group of people in my workplace, but there's no escaping them. 40 hours a week, we're stuck together. So let me introduce you to a few of those characters that I've had to deal with and talk about some of the strategies that served me well. Now, these stories are true, but the names have been changed to protect myself from lawsuits. So first, let me introduce you to Larry, who I like to call Low Information Larry. Now, when I first started working there, I was new to the supervising game. You might say naive. Most of my team were very professional. They were self-motivated. They simply informed me of their progress, and that was great. But then came Low Information Larry. Now, here's how my conversations went with him. Oh, hi, Larry. You've been assigned a new project. How's it going? Oh, it's going fine. Oh, are there any issues with the requirements? Oh, no, everything's cool. Oh, okay. Well, you know, some people are just introverts, especially in the IT world. So, okay, I just let him be. A week later. Hi, Larry. You're scheduled to start testing this week. Are you ready to go to testing? Oh, yeah, everything's going good. Oh, okay. Well, let me know if you have any trouble getting test sign-offs. All right. Okay, cool. Things are going great. Next week, Larry, are you ready to move that program to production? You're scheduled to move in on Thursday. No, there's a problem. What is it? I didn't start it yet. Oh my God. He wasn't just a low information Larry. He was a lazy, loafing, lying Larry. And now his bad behavior was going to get me in hot water. I'm the one who will get burned when that project doesn't go on time. So you know what I had to do? I had to help him, meaning I did half of his work to get that thing into production. Ho, 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 ho. You might say you burn, you learn. So my strategy number one is that when you are responsible, even for a delegated task, you must review the progress all along the way. A retired military friend of mine said, if you don't inspect it, you can't expect it. So I still follow that to this very day. I don't believe it, I verify it. Now, there are other people in the workplace who are not so much lazy, lying loafers as they were dinosaurs. And by that, I mean people who make a lot of noise, whip up a lot of drama, but they cannot adapt to change. So let me introduce a lady who I will call Dinah. Now, when Dinah started her job, she was very slow at her work. Well, they rewarded this by not giving her very much work to do. So she would get bored. So around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, she would call to me over the cubicle wall in her whiny pterodactyl voice. Miss Karen. I don't know why she called me Miss Karen. Miss Karen, I'm bored. Well, maybe she didn't have a lot of work to do, but I did. And I was busy. I didn't even know how to respond to something like that, so I just didn't. I did not stop her. Miss Karen. Yeah? I want $1 million. Oh, okay. Miss Karen, what can we do for fun around here? I want to have a party. Can we switch jobs? Oh my gosh. You know, my mother told me when I was a little girl that if somebody was bothering and annoying me, that I should just ignore them and they would go away. Mom, if you can hear this, I just want you to know that that didn't work. No, Dinah was not dissuaded at all. I can still hear that whiny voice ringing in my ears every day. But eventually she did get up to speed, but then she pivoted. At that point, she decided that she should tell everybody else how to do their job. And she did this to me. It was really annoying. For instance, we had flexible schedules. She came in every day at 7. I came in at 9. She'd hear me coming in. She'd hear me over the cubicle wall. 9 o'clock, she'd say, "Good morning, Miss Karen. Are you ready to send out the morning status report? You know it has to go out by 10 o'clock. Now that was her way of just announcing to everyone within earshot that she thought I should come into work earlier. Oh, she was awful. You know, she had a 6-page Excel spreadsheet that she used that you had to fill out to request any work for her to do. And if it wasn't done perfectly, she would begin scolding you loudly and slowly, like she was talking to a dumb kindergartner. She would say, "The approval box has to be signed by the supervisor." And the worst part, her Jurassic era spreadsheet had been replaced by an efficient change control system, but she refused to use it. She could not adapt. That's when I realized that Dinah, the dinosaur, she saw no boundaries. She had no respect for other people's work. She thought her way was the only way. So I learned that she responded to pushback. I had to be more firm, more pushy than I naturally am. And eventually she respected the limits, or I should say, she respected my limits. So that is strategy number 2. Set boundaries. You have to let people know when it's too far. Oh, speaking of boundaries, let me introduce you to Her Royal Highness. She was a person many levels of management above me, and like many higher ups, she was an egomaniac. She was always justified, at least in her own mind, for every rude and conceited thing she did. For instance, one summer morning, my husband and kids were asleep when I left for work at 8:30, and Her Royal Highness called my house, waking up my husband. Hello, said my sleepy husband. I need to speak to Karen Baird, said Her Highness. Well, she's not here. Well, this is her number, isn't it? I need to speak to Karen. Where is she? My groggy guy says, well, who is this? To which Her Royal Highness said, I am her boss. Who are you? Can you believe that? What sleepy man does she think answers my phone? So this brings me to strategy 2.1 on the boundaries. As much as possible, protect your family from workplace intrusions. HR can have your personal number for medical emergencies, but Her Royal Highness doesn't need it. She and other managers can stick to calling you on your company-issued cell phone. Well, finally, let me introduce you to a real jerk. I call him Igor, because if you've ever seen the Frankenstein movie, you know that his assistant Igor has those great big bulging eyes. Well, this Igor had eyes that were constantly bulged out, staring nonstop at what I will call my upper assets. Now, us women know sometimes men will steal a quick glance, but Igor was all in, fascinated, unable to control his glare. Every time I saw him passing in the hallway, at a meeting, at the coffee pot, he stared. And I had enough, so I spoke to my manager. I said, I don't have to put up with this. You're gonna have to talk with that guy. So my manager informed, said, yeah, he and the director, they would take care of it. Oh, good, go ahead and take care of it. Well, a couple days later, here comes Igor to my cubicle. Once again, staring me down. I politely said, you're probably not aware of this, but you're staring at my breasts and you need to stop. Well, he was instantly mortified and so ashamed of himself. Just kidding, no way, he denied it completely. Well, you know, it's too bad even Frankenstein's monster knew to keep his eyes staring straight ahead, and his brain was half dead. Well, don't worry, instead, Igor, he just went on to stop bothering a different woman at work. Only thing is, she filed a harassment complaint and named me as a co-victim. So the department VP called me into her office with my director and manager to retell my story. Well, it was embarrassing for me to talk about my breasts to 3 levels of management. But I told it, including the fact that my manager had not supported me. I got more support out of my 18-hour bra than I ever got from any of those managers. Well, about a month later, I got a phone call from HR asking me to stop by for a meeting at 4:30 on Friday to discuss the matter. You can imagine what I thought. I immediately found my manager. I said, if I get fired over this, I will drive directly to the office of a labor attorney and I'll start my own lawsuit. I've documented everything. I'm not going to be a victim. So strategy number 3, advocate for yourself. Do not endure harassment. Address it according to procedures as soon as possible and document everything. You want to know what happened? I went to that meeting with HR where they informed me my case was closed due to lack of proof. And later that year, when I got my review, I got the best review and the best raise in a long time because my manager and director knew that they were in the wrong for not going to HR immediately, and they thought they could appease me with money. Well, they were right. Woohoo! And you know what happened to Igor? Nothing. Life is not fair. So through these difficult coworkers, I discovered these 3 truths. Number 1, trust has to be earned. When you're responsible for delegated tasks, you have to verify. Number 2, pushy people need to be pushed back. You have to set boundaries, even for managers. Number 3, refuse to be a victim. Advocate for yourself. If you don't, no one else will. So I have to say, all in all, I had a good career. I enjoyed my line of work and most of the people were pretty good. Hey, if I crossed paths with most of my ex-coworkers, I'd be happy to see them, like seeing a friendly cousin at a reunion. But dealing with those difficult people in the workplace, well, that was tough. And to them, I would say, it was nice while it lasted, but I'm glad we're done. I'm glad we broke up. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, those are some great stories. We've concluded our prepared speaking portion of the meeting. So now we'll move on to our 3rd pillar of the Toastmaster meeting, which is the evaluation portion of the meeting. May I please ask for our general evaluator, Artemis, to explain your role and introduce the helpers.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. The general evaluator has 2 major responsibilities. One is to coordinate the evaluation team, and 2 is to evaluate the overall meeting. Now, the evaluation team consists of helpers, such as the eye contact grammarian, the timekeeper, and so on. But those are the basic evaluation team. The evaluation segment is one of the 3 main pillars of the Toastmasters meeting. And this is where you find out what was done well, what we loved about the presentations, the speech presentations, and how they could improve their presentation and take it to the next level. This is where you receive uplifting, constructive, and immediate feedback, which is the added value. The allotted time for evaluations is 2 to 3 minutes. Madam Timer, could you please explain the timing rules for the evaluation segment?
Yes, thank you, General Evaluator. So for this segment, you will speak for 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I will light up green. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I will light up yellow. And at 3 minutes, I will light up red. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Timer. And now I'd like to introduce our first evaluator for speech number 1, which was conducted by Toastmaster Valerie Milton. And our first evaluator would be Toastmaster DTM Bill Moreland. Please give a warm welcome for Toastmaster Moreland.
Thank you, General Evaluator Artemis. Fellow Toastmasters, our most esteemed guest, and most of all, Valerie. You treated us with a subject which is very close to my heart, embracing change in the digital age. As you spoke, I had stories in my head how I've been involved in this for over 40 years, and I could feel your enthusiasm for the topic, how your volume and your pitch was. You didn't have 3 things you talk about. You had 3 things to speak about. When you would make the transitions, we knew we were transitioning. That sagacious use of your vocal variety and quality was outstanding. Now, some of the things too is you had a very set pace, and that intonation that you had when you would talk about a particular part. You talked about being flexible and adaptive, and you could feel how you would convey those feelings. You talked about how we would need digital literacy. I liked how you used the example of your family. I was thinking of younger children, maybe teenagers that know more about this technology than we do, and then someone who's older, who we look up to and respect, and how you could work with them. But how you could articulate the different pieces, it was a very steady rate that you had throughout. Now, this is where you could really improve already a good speech to really grab the audience. How do we invoke emotion with the digital age? You can do it with your pitch and volume. When you're going to try to explain this technology to a parent or even a grandparent, we take ourselves back to being that child, and how we can then look up to them, but try to explain it without much luck, and how we can have that emotion. 2, when you were talking, you had both your eyes and your voice working with it, with those hands. You could see the enthusiasm. So when we're looking for someone who is older, maybe not as well attuned to technology, but still having the wisdom of age, we want to give them that respect. Lower our voice and look up, and still being able to connect. As a sidelight, I found when my daughter explained certain things about the World Wide Web to her grandfather, my father, I was much relieved because he didn't much listen to me. Valerie, an excellent vocal variety speech, and I look forward to future ones. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator Artemis.
Thank you, Toastmaster Moreland. Our second speaker, Toastmaster DTM, Toastmaster Karen Baird, gave a speech on deliver your message with humor. And Karen, I didn't know if you wanted us to just maybe do a round robin on if anyone had any comments on how you could improve and what we really loved about it.
That would be fine.
Okay. I will start with Toastmaster Berkler. Do you have any comments on Toastmaster Baird's presentation?
Yeah, I loved the humor. I thought it was very engaging, and I loved the alliteration when you got harping on lying Larry. That really drove it home for me. And then I noticed a couple other alliterations that you used later, and I thought it was a great tool that you used. I just used I really enjoyed the pacing of it, and I think you engaging so much of your body in it really drew everyone in. So I can't really pinpoint a point of improvement, but I thought it was an amazing speech. If I were in the audience and you were giving that as a keynote speech, I would be very entertained.
Thank
And I
you.
learned a little bit from it too, how to deal with those coworkers.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Toastmaster Milton? Did you have any comments on Toastmaster Barrett's speech?
Yeah, I just liked hearing how you described the different personalities to us. It captured my attention and the humor that you use when describing those personalities. So your speech kept my attention. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Toastmaster Barrett Kim Cooley?
Thank you. I agree with the previous comments and feedback. I would also share that I thought that the dinosaur comparison was very funny. I think I'm going to give you some things to work on.
Okay.
So, with the dinosaur comparison, I felt that that theme could have carried a little bit more throughout as compared to the other two. Because we had the lying, low down, no good, low information Larry. We're all gonna fight Larry because we, not Larry. But the dinosaur one, I think we could have continued the theme a little bit more. And then the only other piece of feedback that I have is the joke that you made about Igor and how you approached him and said, "Oh, you're doing this. I'm sure you're not even aware," etc. And then he said, "I'm so apologetic. I'm so sorry." And then said, "I'm just kidding." Give a little bit, teeny tiny more of a pause so that we feel a little bit more tricked, because that'll make the joke even funnier. But other than that, I thought it was fabulous. I laughed. I loved it. Great storytelling. A+.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Toastmaster, is it Felice?
Yeah, I also I liked Karen's speech a lot. I think you presented the whole thing with a lot of different variation and body language, and it's very engaging. I really like the way, and I also think that it's actually when I hear the actual story that you're telling, it's actually, especially the third one, it's a serious one, and then the way you're talking about it, you're trying to convey it in a humorous way, and that's very interesting to me as well.
Thank you.
We have a guest, and how is that pronounced? It's a Tomo?
Yes,
Yes,
Tomo.
would you like to comment on Toastmaster Karen Barrett's speech? Was there something about it that kind of...
Yeah, yes, I can tell Karen is a veteran Toastmasters. You are very good host and then funny, and I'm really enjoy your speech. I really want to see you, and then I want to laugh in front of you. I can deliver to my laughing. Yeah, I really enjoy. I learn a lot from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to comment. This was
I also want to hear from Bill though.
Oh, I thought I'm sorry. I'm sorry I missed you. Toastmaster Moylan?
Sure. Thank you, Artemis. Karen, very entertaining speech. I thought it hit a lot of different personalities that many of us have had. One of the techniques you could use, because it was a longer speech trying to keep us focused to where this was going, I like to use, in this case, caricatures. You could show us kind of like the bland old Larry, and he's just kind of like, low information, yes, fine. But then as he reveals himself, it could do to a caricature of some other kind of face. You also had one, and I was kind of thinking, if you've ever heard the term a lounge lizard, which is certainly, could completely politically incorrect type of a person. You could kind of put that one in there. for one of the males that was certainly out of line. The other one, like the dinosaur, we could see someone with that kind of character in. You had Igor. I was thinking first, it was kind of like the Quasimodo, the old hunchback that we would see from Frankenstein. Some types of things to kind of transition on it, where you would putting it with the punchline. I think there's a way with that, but it was really an entertaining speech. I think you could use that in different settings, but to let them know, like, you don't miss certain people, but there's others that you do, and you can kind of balance it with that. But overall, I found you really did a very good job on engaging us with humor, but it was also insightful of how we have to really be much more attuned to how we project, what we would think, or let me say, some would think that, oh, I'm just kidding around, I'm just joking, but how it's really very unprofessional. So you could give this as a management training speech of saying these were some of the different distinct personalities I remember from my varied career, and how, they can be, they're wrong, not just illegal, but how they're no longer effective.
I have a question for you, Bill. When you say to use caricatures, do you mean actual pictograph caricatures?
Yes, and something like that where you could just have like a bland one, but really as they would reveal themselves.
Okay.
Or, someone, oh, he's just this great guy and he's really funny, likes to be engaging, but he's really very, the wrong type of piece. The low information Larry, I thought, oh my gosh, if I had them on my career. So, you can work it with that where it starts bland, but this is what it really reveals itself to be.
Okay. Thank you.
Toastmaster Beard, this was one of your best speeches to me. I remember when you first told me about the different characters, and it was hilarious. So I just would like to see, I guess, less instructional and like more of the humor. Just kind of pull more of that out and kind of relax more and just get to the real core of how you first gave it to me. It was like, it was so funny. I just kept repeating it when I was driving home and just thinking about it, and it was hilarious. So just want to get to more of the humor, since that was what it was, deliver your message with humor, more so than instructional. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your feedback.
Next is our evaluation of our evaluator number one for speaker number one. This is going to be a roundtable for everyone. Is that correct, Ms. Toastmaster Moreland? Oh, okay. Just want any comments that you might have about Toastmaster Bill Moreland's evaluation of speaker number one, which was Toastmaster Valerie Milton. I'll start with Toastmaster Beard Cooley.
Thank you very much. Toastmaster Moylan, you do such a fabulous job with evaluations, and I feel inspired by the way that you provide evaluations, because you have a really great mix of acknowledging what's been worked on and what the purpose of the speech is and how they accomplish that goal. And even when you're providing feedback, you do it in such a gentle and kind way of, here's how you can take it even further. So that's something that I would like to strive towards working toward. And when I think about that, I think about how you give feedback. So great job.
Toastmaster Karen Beard.
I would say the most valuable thing I've ever learned at Toastmasters is not how to give a speech, but how to evaluate and give good feedback. So I do appreciate the way, Bill, you gave feedback. You use that sandwich approach where you give what you recognize, what you saw that was done well. You give that meaty portion to grow on things that could be used to take to the next level, and encouragement at the end. So I think you did a fine job. I was wondering what you would use for that middle part, because I thought Valerie did such a great job. And Valerie, I sent Valerie a chat feedback. She did such a great job. I think anybody who's been with Valerie from the beginning, don't you think she's gone from here to there? I mean, you just look, oh,
Thank you.
great job. And Bill, good job in hitting all the high points. Thank you.
Toastmaster, Berkler?
Yeah, I really agree with what Kimberly's saying. The way that you come across is so warm and it kind of builds you up as you're bracing yourself to receive the feedback. So by the point that you get to what we can improve on, it just feels very helpful and nice, which, you know, sometimes getting feedback isn't always the most pleasant experience. And I really liked when you gave the feedback of what she could improve on, you gave specific examples and you gave, you know, you explained it and you gave an example of it, which I thought was very helpful. So great evaluation.
Toastmaster Felice?
Yeah, I like that, Bill, when you give evaluation to people, you actually touch on the detailed points, several of the points in the speech, and you explain a little more how good or bad that point is. Usually it's on the positive side. But I like that you pointed out, and I think as someone that's creating the speech, they always like to hear that when they maybe put there in a little point that they wanted to show, and then when you point it out, people feel like they're heard. So that's a good thing. I think I like it.
Thank you. And we have our guest, Tomo. Is there anything that you'd like to add to Toastmaster Moylan's evaluation?
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much. I really enjoy Bill's evaluation. Bill also, I can tell, like a veteran Toastmasters, and then he doesn't look at the script, and he just look at the camera. So I was very engaged by your evaluation, and then also a lot of good comment and also evaluation, as people say. So I want to know how come you gave the evaluate very good. I want to learn. Please tell me the technique. Thank you.
Tomo,
Yes.
practice.
Practice.
And as Karen mentioned, you know, yes, we'll get better at our public speaking by speaking, but we learn even more from evaluating others. And then you become your own biggest critic.
I
And
see.
you start evaluating yourself and you start really seeing it with that way. And that's how we grow.
I see.
And one of the very important things in Toastmasters, we evaluate to motivate. And it's easy to do a whitewash. Oh, I like this, and oh, this was nice, and that was not. That doesn't help. Or the other way, on the very other end, is the Rambo. You blow everything. Oh, you did this wrong. Oh, you did that wrong. You know, neither help. And you want to find that piece in the middle. So thank you all for your feedback.
Thank you.
I'm just going to say thank you, Bill. You excel. I just want to ask now for may I have the all counters report?
Before we do the odd counters report, last time we met, I know it didn't make it onto the agenda, and I don't know if you were prepared for this, Bill, but we did ask you to be the table topics evaluator. Would you be able to make comments on table topics?
Certainly.
Okay.
Thank you, Karen. One of the interesting things first for any good table topics is a great table topics master. And Jelena, you gave us that. You gave us an overall theme like the Olympics. And then you asked us different things like your most favorite and one that was really boring you. And I thought that was a good piece. But you varied the questions to meet for each of us. A thing too is that what was well done, like for Kim, you said you had the one where it was boring. And you said, does golf? Well, golf is an Olympic sport, believe it or not. And you're right, it's boring to watch because you see all that action, but you were able to touch on that. And even though you didn't know it, you still had a good answer. I think it was done there. Was it Valerie that you were given the gold medal? And you're saying, why was I given, so you were able to question it, like even though it was a question that, you're not the athlete, you noted that, but you were able to put it in. So those were good answers of handling them. Felice, what was your particular one on?
It was the most challenging thing to be an Olympic athlete.
Yes, and so again, what you had was how you could put it with, try to put yourself in their mind of how challenging it is. So that's a good technique with it. Tomo, I was very impressed that you're the first time coming to a Toastmasters meeting and you were able to speak to that. So good things on that. So one of the things about the table topic is where all of you addressed the question and you kind of reiterated it and put it in your own words, which is important. And then you picked up like an aspect of it and not trying to boil the ocean, everything. Karen, you talked about what city, oh yeah, I know it's going to be here in Detroit. And actually it was voted on and we didn't win, but it was back in 1964. 60 years ago, Detroit was up to be, was the US choice for the Olympics in 68, and we didn't win. We lost to Mexico City. But it was an interesting thing on the enthusiasm that you were able to have and what kind of a sports town. And with on that, you say, yeah, we don't have a ski jump. We'll work that out, so it was a way with it. I would say one thing to improve, and I do it myself, and what we always say at the end, and it's one of those Toastmaster quirks, you end up saying thank you. You don't thank us, we thank you. So a good way is when you come to the end, simply say, Madam Topic Master, Jelena, and simply putting it back to them. But I think the good things that I saw we had is you addressed the question, you personalized it, and then you kind of brought it back to the end, but sans the thanks. Madam General Evaluator.
And now may I have the timers report?
You certainly can. So first off, we had table topics. We had Bill speaking about the most exciting sport in 1:57. Our team is talking about her favorite athlete at 2:15. Dottie speaking about her amazing new exercise she's doing in 1:47. Karen gave us a pitch for Detroit in 1:33. Kimberly talked about the boring sport of golf in 1:27. Valerie accepted her gold medal in 40 seconds. Felice talked about the hardest part of being an Olympic athlete in 2:02, and Tomo spoke about team sports for 1:42. In our prepared speeches, Valerie spoke for 5 minutes and 19 seconds, and Karen spoke for 14 minutes and 59 seconds. And then for Bill's evaluation, he spoke for 3 minutes and 20 seconds. That concludes my report.
Thank you. I know we're kind of running kind of a little I guess 2 minutes after time. So at this time, I'd like to return control to our wonderful Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Kimberly Beard Cooley.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Can we just get some quick recognitions from our just didn't mark me down. Can we get it? Please have some quick recognitions for the people who use the word of the day.
Yes, we had Bill,
Oh.
Dottie, Valerie, and Tomo all used the word of the day. I meant to, but I just slipped my mind. Good
All
job.
right. Now let's just run through fast the filler words, please.
Mhm.
Jelena had 2 ums. Bill had nothing. Kim had 2 ums and a couple of ands. Artemis had 5 ums. Felice had 6 ums. Valerie only had 1 and 1 so that I noticed. Tomo had a couple of ahs, and I didn't count anything against myself.
All right, wonderful. We are running a few minutes over. Artemis, Toastmaster Artemis Mayat, would you like to give a short general evaluation, or do you want to forego the general evaluation portion? What's your preference?
Sure. I mean, I started to, but then it's like, well, we'll go over, so I didn't know, but I should have asked. I think it's unusual and always thought-provoking was the word of the day. It's always something that I just take back to work and put it in our team's chat, to be honest. Toastmaster, I mean, you Toastmaster of the day, and you're a great motivator. You always go above and beyond. I like that. I mean, smooth transitions and the organization of how you perform this role. It's like you try to get it right and you shoot for the moon, and you may not always get to the moon, but it's always admirable. The timing rules, I like that. They were explained. What was so impressive is you mentioned the pillars, the pillars. Or segments of the meeting. So I just was kind of enthralled with that. Table topics were insightful and thought-provoking, and it's just enlightening. The speakers gave educational and amazing speeches, and the evaluators are exceptional, and they gave helpful advice. What I like too is the audience. It's very impressive. We're attentive and we're enthusiastic. We could clap a little bit more. Always the guests are acknowledged and invited to comment. So other than that, I return control. Oh, the meeting. I think it should always start no matter what at 6 o'clock. And then you open the meeting, you recite the mission statement, and then you can always go back and give let's take a 5-minute break to do something else. But no matter what, you always open one time, and then you can go back and say, well, we'll just take a little break and then get everything together. So the meeting should start on time. And only thing I could say, the president recited the mission statement, and other than that, I return control to a wonderful Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator Toastmaster Mayat. All right, so we are running over in time. However, this is normally our comments and questions section, and we always love to ask our honorable guests if they have any questions or comments or thoughts that they'd like to share.
Yes. I'd like to say a ton of things, but I want to say, oh my God, this is a very organized and enthusiastic club. I'm so surprised, but I guess, because I was looking for the Toastmasters club, and your club is very detailed, and especially YouTube. Oh, this club has maybe many enthusiasts or veteran Toastmasters is gathered, that I might assume. And then I was right. It's a lot of veteran speaker. I'm so impressed. I really enjoy. And also what I was also impressed is I joined this 6:55. Usually in Japan, my toast club is a 10 minutes or is recommended. However, in America, it's usually delay. But when I joined the 5 minutes before, it's people already here. So, oh my God, must be very good club. I can tell. And then they compared you are the timer. Oh, we missed the timer, or I never seen in America is usually after the meeting. So meeting was delay. But this is only this is once a week, is very high level. I'm so impressed. I really enjoy. I was very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. That was great feedback. Thank you. All right, well, let's get some roles filled for next week, and then we can say adieu
Our
to
next
one
meeting,
another.
our next meeting is July 9th.
Okay, July 9th. Who wants to do Toastmaster of the Day?
I can do Postmaster of the Day.
Oh, good.
And I'm already scheduled as a speaker.
All right.
Let's
I can do-
tentatively put Bill Liverman also as a speaker, because he did have a speech he was supposed to do today. We'll see if we can get him to do it next time.
And Karen, you had listed Toastmaster Cheryl Johnson Vanbro as a speaker?
I think that must be a mistake of some kind, so we'll have to check on that.
Okay.
I can do table topics.
Oh. You know, I love doing an evaluation. Can I do an evaluation?
Sure.
I'm going to volunteer Dottie to do word of the day. If nobody else wants to do that. Nobody else wants to. Tomo, do you think we could count on you to come back for the next meeting?
Yes, may I? Yeah.
Yes. Would you like to be an counter or a timer, since you've been a Toastmaster before?
Yes, either one is fine. It's okay. So maybe, okay, I will do a timer.
Timer. Okay,
You
great.
have the timing signals, Tomo? Oh,
Of course.
okay.
We'll get her set up with this, with the backgrounds for that. Okay, Felice, what would you like to do next time?
I was thinking timer, but now I don't know. I am
Well, how about then if you become an counter?
I can try. I'm not very confident about that though.
We're confident in you. You're never going to learn it if you don't do it. So we'll just put you
Yeah.
down, okay?
Okay.
However you do it, it'll be great because you haven't done it before.
Okay.
So it'll
I'll
be
try.
first step. Okay. Artemis. Evaluator, general evaluator, something else? Speaker?
Just surprised me. Somebody surprised me.
Okay.
Well, I'll do general evaluator. I haven't done that in a while.
Okay, well then that leaves Artemis for an evaluator.
Okay.
Has anyone talked to Erilyn lately? Okay. Jelena, would you like to give Erilyn some contact?
Yeah, I'm gonna be in the office tomorrow, so if I see her, I'll talk to her.
Oh, okay, great. Bill Liverman sent his regrets. He was supposed to be here, but he had, I can't even remember what it was. He's writing a book, and I think he had to meet with a publisher or something. Something along that line. I don't exactly remember, but he did send me a text message.
All right. All right, well, thank you, everyone. I'm returning control to our Madam President.
Let's have a hand for our Toastmaster of the Day. Great job.
Madam
Okay.
President, is it
Mhm.
possible that I could ask everyone to take a group picture?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, okay. Well, on the count of three, could everybody say sagacious?
Sagacious.
Okay.
Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3.
Sagacious.
Let's see. Oh my God. Bill, you ought to see yourself. I see every single tooth. There we go. That's awesome. I liked it. Thank you.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have our roles filled. Our next meeting is July 9th. Anything else? Well, with
I
that,
wanted
will
to
close out the meeting.
I wanted to put the picture in the chat. Let's see. Let me to everyone. Let's see. Here we go. And I don't know. Wanted to see if everybody could get it. Otherwise, I'll just let's see.
Your computer must be really trying because your voice went quavering for a second.
Yeah, I need a new one. Oh well.
If you want to,
Oh well.
I can
It's
email it.
spiraling around, but
If you can send it to us in email, that would be great.
okay.
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 Well, it was a great meeting,
Will do.
everyone. I will hope to see you again
That's
on
fun.
July 9th. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank
There
you.
it is. It went through.
Got it.
Got it.
Oh,
Problem.
good.
Thank you.
Okay, I saved it. Thanks, Artemis.
You're welcome. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, your speech, it's I am thrilled. I want to see you do it one more time, but I want you to really let loose.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't see your text. I had to work 16 hours.
Oh my
somebody
goodness.